I'd say there's quite a number of industries that have been impacted. In fact, I'd argue that there's not an industry that hasn't been touched by supply side issues, and so we're obviously working quite closely with customers specifically around that, and looking to try and tailor some of our policies and approach to support that. You know, I referenced before, but one of the things we've looked at increasing is the sale and buyback option that we have in place. You know, I look at customers, or a number that I've talked to recently, that have purchased some large-scale equipment. I think with the benefit of hindsight, knowing there was going to be rising interest rates, rising fuel costs, rising energy costs, potentially they wouldn't have paid for that with cash, and so we have increased the period of time and looking to go further on that in terms of sale and buyback. So whilst customers continue to be impacted by supply side, there are things that we're doing to work with them to try and get cash flow back into their business. Again, some of the research that we've done more broadly, we're seeing customers actually pivot in terms of more of an appetite to pick up second-hand goods, which is propping up some of the second-hand asset markets. So we're seeing customers pivot towards that, and also certainly seeing an increase in manufacturing in Australia, which we're seeing our customers then look to make the most of. So I think there's a few to call out. I think manufacturing, we're certainly seeing an increase in that industry starting to pick up across the country for obvious reasons, given supply side challenges. I'd certainly say agriculture. So we're saw quite a significant uptick in the purchasing of agricultural equipment, and certainly demand. And I think some of the harvest seasons that we've had more broadly have supported that. The other I'd say would certainly be healthcare. That's an area as an organisation we're quite heavily invested in, given some of our recent acquisition of Whitecoat and some of what we're doing in the healthcare space. And so those for me are three key industries that we're seeing a huge amount of growth on, and obviously looking to provide some support. Ian, I'm interested in your views. I know there's others that you've seen.
Yeah, you touched on agri as well, but I think the one that really stands out for me is there are certain parts of the transportation industry that have been very well positioned to take advantage of the changes in the way people engage with the retail market. You know, obviously there's a lot more online shopping going through, and that's created a natural demand for delivery services. I think some of that's a semi-permanent shift in preference from consumers, and the businesses and the transportation components of that have been aligned with that, I think have done exceptionally well. And that's manifested itself in demand for light commercials being incredibly strong, and I think that's likely to be a more permanent trend going forward.
Yeah, agreed. I've certainly seen that, and I've certainly been on the receiving end of a number of those packages arriving at my place. So.